Up, up, and away. Alrighty here. Welcome to another edition of Making You a Bartending Pro Live. I'm Jason. So let's get some musica going. And let me pull up the little, let's see here, hold on a second. Hold on, my friends. Gotta get to the live dashboard so I can answer preguntas. Live streaming, okay. How are ya? How's everybody doing? Hold on. Let's see, there we go. I don't know why this is always such a... There we go. Difficult for me to figure out. Okay, so... How are y'all doing? Jarek and Crystal, hello. Nicole Bryant, hello. How are you, ladies? So... As per the usual, let's do a little celebratory Tuesday evening toast. That was a terrible throw. Cheers, y'all. So, how's y'all's week? How's everybody's week? I don't know why I keep saying y'all. I sound like a Texas person. Nothing wrong with Texas. I'm just saying I'm not from Texas, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Alright, so is everything coming through loud and clear for everybody out there in YouTube land? Everybody good? And I know I see questions coming up already, so I will get to all of those. So I just kind of want to let a few people trickle in, and then we'll kind of get rolling, digging into the stuff. We got Tatiana Bell. And I'm really bad with names, so if I totally butcher your name, I apologize. It's hard to read some of these properly when I am just a silly American boy with limited foreign name knowledge. So, Arwinian Bagwandas, Jared Amidan, Mr. Namsawi, Jarek and Crystal, say hi. Jose Mendoza, Mr. Walker for cough. Hey! Okay, cool. Right on. So there's a little bit of lag on my, from when it goes up until I see it. No, that's not too bad. Okay, cool. Alright. So yeah, how's everybody? Week is crazy, right? Mother Nature is throwing a fit. Just throwing pans and breaking shit in the kitchen. You got the hurricane train of death over in the Caribbean. The freaking volcanoes are about to explode down in Bali, which I don't know if any of you guys know about that, but me and my wife do yoga retreats, and she is about to leave in a couple of weeks down to Bali, but there's a giant volcano that is about to explode, so a little bit of an issue with that. So anyway, I think there's another volcano like in Vanuatu and one up somewhere else in northern Indonesia. But anyway, so cool. So good to see y'all. Let's see here. Let's just jump into a couple questions here. I'm a new bartender, Mr. Namsoy. I think that's right. You know what? Those are cool. I don't know how you get those letters. Anyway, I'm a new bartender. What subject can I talk with a guest? Any recommendations? You can ask any questions to me. You guys can chit chat with each other on the live chat board. So feel free to have at it. Nothing is off the table. We've talked about everything from natural disasters now to tattoos and nipples and shady customers and bartending and things that are not bartending, so it's all up to y'all. All right. Cool. Yeah. I want to learn to bartend so bad, but have such a bad memory. Don't worry, Crystal. It's just a repetition thing. I don't have a stellar memory either. It's just you got to remember that most of your drinks are going to be pretty simple. Most of the time, if you have like a weird drink coming at you, you can just ask somebody. Don't waste your time trying to memorize like 200 different drinks before you go look for a job. Just go get a job and figure it out. Like when I started bartending, my first day of bartending, I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know how to pour. I didn't know any drink recipes. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just was flying by the seat of my pants. And you figure it out. And the dirty secret about bartending is it's not that hard. It's really not. So, I don't like that song. I'm going to skip that one. I like it. I just heard it too much lately. So, yeah, don't be afraid to just jump in there. And if you don't know something, then you can just ask people, you know, hey, what's in that? How do you make that? How do you prefer it? In, worst case scenario, like we talked about last week, you can always just go around the corner and Google the damn drink recipe. Right. Man, those are delicious after a day of doing a bunch of responsible adult things. So, are we in Baguandas? What kind of cocktails are good for a party? Whatever kind of cocktails your friends or the people that are coming normally drink. Unless you are framing the party on the front end that you want to try to make a bunch of whiz-bang recipes. Meaning you just want to try a bunch of cool stuff. And if you want them to come in and play Stump the Bartender, then, get the stuff that you want to practice. But usually when you're having a party, you just get a couple of basics. Something about politics, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. No. And back to the question about what to talk about. You can talk about whatever you want, but please keep it clean and not clean, but no racist, sexist, political, religious crap. But other than that, go for it. I don't even know what I could do, even if you guys did start talking about that stuff. I don't even know. I know there's a way to like turn on some sort of filtering thing, but anyway, totally lost my train of thought. Oh, the party cocktails for Are we in? Are we in? Sorry, butchering that. Yeah, just whatever your people that are coming normally drink is going to be a good gig, a good call for your party. I usually get, like, when I'm throwing parties at my house, I'll just have a couple of beers and maybe a bottle of wine or two, and then generally people, if they want to drink hard stuff, they'll bring it. And I have this is like at my house, right? So this is my home bar. And so this is obviously a little more well set up than others, so I can grab this stuff. But usually I would have like a tequila, because I'm a tequila guy. I might have a good bourbon, because I like good bourbons. And then you have like a vodka, because vodka is super popular, at least around here. It just depends on, that's what I mean. It depends on like your friends and the people that are coming over and what they drink. Then have stuff like alcohols and mixtures for that stuff. So, and all you guys coming in with questions, I will get to them. So just hang tight. I kind of will answer questions and go on tangents, and then I'll come back and scroll back up to your questions. So if I'm not getting to your question right away, I will get to it. All right. So let's see what else. What else we got here? Yeah. All right. Mr. Walker wants to know, what are you guys doing tonight? What are you up to? Are you going out? Is your birthday? Is the date? Go from there. I don't know if you're talking about this or you're talking about the party or what. So, what about you guys? I'm sure you're not like out. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably kicking it in front of your computer. So, anyway. Tatiana, How are you, girl? Still haven't landed a job in bartending. Trying to reframe from lying on my resume. Refrain, I think, yeah. In Miami, and it's a tough market. You know what? I mean, shit. If you've watched the Evan interview that I did with the interviews with pros, I've only got the one episode right now. Evan, he talks about he got his first job because he lied about experience on his resume. Now, it depends on how much you lie, and it depends on the place that you're going. Now, right, for the record, right, don't lie about anything in life, right, because that's just your golden rule or whatever you want to, it's just bad, morally, ethically wrong. However, jobs in the context of human existence are not something that's going to get you banned from some sort of cosmic place or whatever, you know. So if you have to fudge the truth a little bit in order to survive, I don't have a problem with that. Now, to get back to my point about where it is and how much, like if you're talking about you lie and say that you have 10 years of nightclub experience so that you can get into like a hot club, I would still say, hey, bravo, go for it. But you're probably just going to get absolutely murdered in terms of getting thrown into that situation. And when you can't pull, then they're going to immediately know that you're full of shit and you'll be fired. Probably. Maybe. Not necessarily. But the thing with fudging a little bit of experience, because it's the chicken and the egg, you know, like how do you get experience before you get a job? You can't get a job if you don't have any experience. So sometimes you got to just fudge the rules a little bit. And if you can get a job at a place that's, you know, if you're looking at a place that's a little more low-key, then it's probably not too big of a deal. Just remember that, you know, like even like Evan said in that interview, he said that they basically found out real quick that he didn't have any experience, but he had the personality that it didn't really matter, and it's just not that hard. And especially if you kind of watch some of my other videos that show you how to just kind of practice at home, and you get a little bit of feel, you get to come get a few drinks that you've practiced and made a few times, and you could make them, throw a couple of parties and have people come play, you know, customer for you. Try to get your private party gig stuff going, right? Nobody's asking you for experience on that. That's just on you to just go do that on your own, and then you can put that on your resume as legitimate experience as well. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, especially in a market like Miami, that is really tough. Same around here, like San Diego, it's just, you got career bartenders left and right? You got people that have been doing this like me, who, whether or not we kind of intentionally did that, they've just been in this industry forever because it's good money, it's consistent, it's easy, and man, it's just one of those things that I'm okay if you got to fudge it a little bit. And if you're having a really hard time, then hey, fudge it a little bit and see what happens. And just make sure that you're, wherever you're going to do this at, that it's a place where you could handle. And worst case scenario, you get a job and they fire you. You know, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you go in there and you pull it. So it's worth a shot, especially if you're having a hard time finding anything else. So I say, you know, go for it. Okay. So like I said, I'll get to everybody's here. You guys got a bunch of good stuff going on here. Nicole Bryant just started bartending, made $200 tips in her second night. High five, Nicole. Well done. That's a good shift. Second night. Good job. So that sounds like you're in a good spot. Congratulations on that. Jared, what's the best drink for a party? You can kind of watch back to the beginning of this live stream. I already answered that. It's basically just kind of like whatever your people that are coming to the party prefer, really. And yeah, right on. Woku. Am I saying that right? Stoked you can make it. 5-week bartending class, hardest memorizing the drinks. Don't worry about, I mean, you got to memorize them for the class, so they're going to make you do all that kind of stuff. But I need to figure out if there's a way to put the list of the 10 most popular drinks because I made that list, and it's like really you don't need to know a whole lot more than that beyond like types of drinks that are on the drink menu at a place that you would work at. You know what I should do? I should write it on my little chalkboard. I'll do that a little bit later. Okay, so let's kind of scroll back through some of these questions here. And what else is going on out there in the world? Still haven't no jump. Okay. So resume part for me, but with me it's because I have years gap. Sorry, I'm just like kind of reading this out loud. Don't talk politics. Avoid at all costs. I stepped back from bartending to be a barback. Last gig was 2015 on New Year's Eve. So Jay Seska stepped back from bartending to be a barback. That's interesting. But $1,000 on New Year's Eve. Hey, that's great. Joe Marcho, what's up, buddy? Thank you. Had a great anniversary the other week. Went very well. Went out, had a nice time with the lady. So let's see, Tatiana. So she's been a therapist for the last 9 years, and so they think it's weird that I want to bartend. Who fucking cares? Don't worry about that. Just, yeah, don't even fudge it a little bit, you know, if you're having a hard time. Especially if you've been practicing. Feathers floating around in here. Lost Ways 27. What's your favorite drink to make? So this is another one that always kind of seems to come up. I don't really have like a favorite drink to make. And to short answer to your questions, I don't really have a favorite drink to make. And it's just because that after doing this for so long, you realize that bartending is not about us. It's not about the drinks we know. It's not about how cool or like our flair or, you know, sometimes it is, but generally the whole thing is about them. They're there. They're the reason the business is open. They're the reason the business is running. They're the reason that we make tips and we make money is because of them. So my favorite drink is whatever they like, and if I make it in a way that they like it. Does that make sense? So if I had to pick one, I think we talked about this last week too. It's just, you know, I like making stuff that I like drinking. If I was going to say, what's your favorite cocktail? It's just, what do I like drinking? Which I don't really drink hard stuff anymore, so it's usually like a beer. Or it's, you know, I drink margaritas or I drink like old fashions sometimes. And then it's just fun trying other stuff that other people make. But like, I don't have, as I said before, I don't have a drink that if somebody orders, I'm super excited about. It's because it's not about me. It's about the customer. So my favorite drink is whatever they like drinking at the time. So I'm moving to LA. So Natasha Small. I'm moving home. Wait, I'm moving to LA. How hard is it to get a job bartending out there? I'm sure LA is a massive market. So two things, good and bad. One, there's same thing as around here, and like we were talking about just a second ago with Miami, you're going to have a lot of competition. You're going to have a lot of very seasoned and some of the best bartenders in the world, I'm sure, around there. But number two, it's a massive market. So LA is divided into so many different areas and little towns, and then little, or cities, and then little towns within the cities, and then there's neighborhoods within those little towns. I mean, there's so much, there's plenty of opportunity to get started. Like it's a competitive market, but it's one that is humongous. So you shouldn't have too many problems following. If you go back and watch the whole, how to get a job playlist miniseries, talking about making that circle a 30-minute radius around where you're living, you should be able to find a pretty big list of places that you can attack. Start there, and then build out and start working towards it. Let's see here. Just want to go back up through kind of from the top, make sure I didn't miss anything important because we're starting to get a train of questions here. Just want to make sure that I get everybody's. Let's see here. So LA. All right, got it. So Arwin Bhagwandas, question for you. Is it legal for a 17-year-old to work in a bar making cocktails? Not in America. Now, there are certain states where I believe you can mix at 18 and 19. I think like Texas is one of those states. There's a couple other ones. So check your local guidelines. But generally, in the U.S., you cannot be a bartender. You cannot pour drinks until you are 21 years of age. Now, you can be a waiter or a waitress at 18, so you can take that drink that somebody else made and you can give it to a customer, but you can't physically build or make or pour the cocktail or open a beer even until you're 21. So that's kind of a state-by-state thing that you got to look up or wherever you're at and check your local guidelines and laws for the answer to that question. Got a new job in a dive bar. Has lots of potential. So this is Mr. Walker 4. Lots of potential, but the owner is not very good, causing the majority of his staff to leave. Do you stick it out or do you bail? I don't know, man. That's hard. That's a question that you got to answer for yourself. I mean, depends on what you're trying to get out of the job. In terms of like your total, look at start big and then zoom in. Like, what do you want out of bartending? Like for me, it's time flexibility, schedule flexibility. Do I get that there? Yes. And then going from there, it's like I need to make X amount of money so that I can survive and pay bills. Does it do that? Yes. Then go, and then keep zooming in, and then just be honest with yourself about what you want. And if that sucks. I know that is just. Bad management is one of the worst things in the world. I'm also, studying business, but it's basically a management degree that I'm getting, management and entrepreneurship through the College of Business at the Cal State University that I'm at. And so I'm studying business management, and just bad management is just really disappointing because it's generally from people that are either really jaded or they've just never learned proper management skills. And both of those types of people, the first one being the worst, if you just work for some fucking warmonger. So anyway, you gotta kind of figure out what you want from your bartending. If you're getting it at that bar, stick it out. And if you're not, then, I say get the hell out of there. Okay. So let's see what we got here. How do I reject a customer offering to buy me a shot? Just say you can't. So Nicole Bryant, that's it. I get that one all the time. And you just say you can't drink, right? You're not. And again, you can lean on state laws like California. We're technically not allowed to drink on the job, even though it happens all the time. So this is one of those kind of unspoken rules of you're not supposed to, but it happens all the time. Either you can just say I don't drink, or you can say I'm not allowed to. And then you can point to some imaginary camera in the sky, or maybe if you have cameras, you can go like, see, that's boss up there. I can't, they're watching me, so I appreciate it, but thanks, but no thanks. And even then they'll go like, well, let me put one on the tab, and you can have it later. And I'll always say, it's like, all right, sweet. They're like, well, all right, what do you drink? And I tend to drink like $25 tequila, and that's just because I don't necessarily want to drink $25 tequila, but I'm just trying to buff the tab. That might sound a little... I won't do that to everybody that offers to buy me a drink. But if somebody's... you can tell when people are they want to buy you something nice, then I'll let them. And basically, I'll put it on there, and it just kind of, busts out the tab, expands the check, so it's a little bit bigger. And maybe that sounds a little bit unscrupulous, but that's just the nature of the industry. That's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to hook you up. So whether it's in the shot or in the form of a few extra bucks on a tip, same effect for me in what they're trying to achieve. So I have no problem doing that. So just tell them that you can't. Tell them you're not allowed. Tell them that they're watching you. Tell them you don't drink. Just, don't worry about... Don't ever feel pressured that you have to either. Okay. Sid Meister, weren't you back on the last one? Finally caught a live stream. I swear, I talked to you last week, didn't I? Maybe you just caught the end of it or something. All right, Tatiana, for private parties, I've seen expensive bar bags Do you have a bag in your store at a good price? What do you mean bar bag? Just like a little that rolls out all your little tools and shit? Is that what you're talking about? Because I just have my random tools and throw them in a backpack. You don't need a, I don't feel like you have to have one of those little snazzy mixologist kits that they roll out and they have all their stuff in their little pockets. I mean, if you want to, that's cool, but I don't. I just throw my shit in, like, I put my tools in my little shaker tin, and then I throw like a glass in there and measuring, all my little stuff that I need, and then throw it in like a grocery bag and put it in my backpack, and adios, I'm out. Let's see here. Yeah, and I think you guys might be trying to message each other back and forth. Sorry, I don't know if you can do that through this other than seeing it on this chat board anyway. Let's see. Best advice for someone who has no experience at all and wants to bartend. All right, Josh. So go search through my playlist that I have on the channel. There's one about getting started as a bar. I forget. I should have written down what all my Oh, you know what I can do here actually. Here, let's do this. I can pull up. Let's pull it up. Huh? That would be smart. I have a bunch of playlists that have videos that will walk you through everything from teaching you how to pour to teaching you some drinks to teaching you how to get started with private party gigs, how to go from that into like getting a job in an establishment. So there's, let's see here. So I'm pulling up my playlist so that I'm properly telling you what they're called. And I got a bunch of them, that's why I don't. Okay, so the main ones are, look at the How to Become a Bartender playlist. And that has like how to get started in 48 hours. So going from nothing at all, never poured a drink in your life, to getting started doing private parties, and how to get those parties, how to prepare, what to do in the parties so that you can get more parties, how to use those parties as experience on your resume so that you can go out and try to get a more, I don't want to say legitimate because that's legitimate too, but you know what I mean, a more traditional bartending job. Then the Bartending 101, the Working Bartender, and then there's like the cocktail drink recipes playlist. So check out those ones. The Working Bartender, or How to Become a Bartender. That's probably, go start with that one. Then watch through the Bartending 101. It's a lot of basics like how do you pour, what's the bunch of stuff that I have on here, like how to pour, how to remember drink orders, set up a bar, bartending license stuff, how to handle customers, and you got frozen drinks, how to tap a keg, cut people off, how to check IDs, how to stay calm when it's really busy on a Friday, Saturday night. And if you're watching this on a replay, then I'm going to try to put little links to these playlists up here. But yeah, for you guys right now, then for you, make sure you go check those. And there's a few other playlists that will help you out. But yeah, Josh, go check out those playlists, just because that's a really broad question, and there's a lot to it. But so let's see if I can answer it real quick. What's the best advice for someone who has no experience at all and wants to bartend? If you are just going to take one piece of advice and go after it right now, I would say just go try to get a job at any establishment doing any job. Most of the time when you get started as a bartender, you're going to start working in another job. You're going to start as a host, a busser, barback, which is the best because you're closest to the bar, bouncer, cook, dishwasher, anything. Even you could even be like a janitor or something. I don't know if bars don't really have janitors. We're janitors at the end of the night, by the way, as bartenders. We clean shit. But try to just go to get a job in an establishment that you want to work at, and that'll be a pretty good starting point. But go watch all those playlists because that'll really, really give you a whole lot of stuff to dig into. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know if you guys are like asking me questions and I kind of leave them hanging and then you answer, or you ask them again at the bottom. I'm trying to get back and forth to them. Let's see here. Jose Alfredo Mendoza couldn't send my question. Are you talking about me? Hopefully that came through again. Let's see here. Let's see, I was asked to bartend at a family reunion from a friend, and I recently met, but it was a last-minute thing. I thought it was a horrible idea. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many people were there. If it was really busy and you weren't ready, then that would be really stressful and probably kind of turn you off to, or could potentially kind of turn you off to bartending. It's better to have a little bit of preparation, you know, unless you're like already experienced as a bartender. Like if somebody asked me, it's like, yeah, sure, you know, why not? You could jump in there and do it. But if you're like brand new, that might be kind of stressful. But, you know, at the same time, with all that aside, I'd say go for it anyway. That's, any experience is good experience. Okay, and yeah, there you go. Tell me it's against company policy. We're talking about drinking. How important, so Sid Meister, how important is knowledge of wine in general to work a bartender, to be working as a bartender in a 4-star hotel? Probably pretty important. You got to look at their menu. You got to look at what they're serving. If they serve a bunch of wine, then they're obviously going to want you to know the wine. Be familiar. Look at what, because they'll generally have, I mean, it depends on where you're at. We're in California, so we have a lot of California wines. So if you work somewhere else, you might have just a random selection of shit all over the world. So try to look at where their wines, not just what brand of wine. And I know I've been telling you guys I've been trying to get a wine video. I've been harassing the lady, and I still can't get her down here, damn it. Because she is a wine connoisseur / snob, and she knows a shitload about wine. So anyway, one of these days, I promise, I'm going to have her make a video with me about wine. But with wine, when you're learning about wine, you want to learn not just, like if you're researching a particular place, right? Don't just look at the brands. I mean, you can look at the brands because it'll show you where the wine is from. But get to know, look at the brands, but then look at the areas where their wines are coming from that they buy. And there's a few key places that wines kind of come from around the world. And just do a little bit of research about those areas and the types of wines that come out of those areas. And that will make you a lot more informed as opposed to learning the minutia of every single winery or every single brand of bottle of wine. Does that make sense? So kind of do your homework about certain areas and what they're known for. And that should help a lot. I want cocaine from my bartender. That's why I bartend. Alrighty, man. Well, that's a great way to get fired, in fact. So, good on you, Psych Duck Master. Good luck with that. I hope you don't get busted. Unfortunately, that's the type of crap that you see all the time in this industry. You just got Daryls that are attracted to this business just because you got booze and party people and party favors, and that's just part of the deal. But I'll have you know, we've lost 3 bartenders just this year from that exact reason. They always find out because somebody will rat you out, so be careful. Even if you think they're your friend, they will. If you slight them wrong, the problem with doing shit like that is that if you piss somebody off, they will go to the manager and go like, yeah, well, that guy fucking does drugs. And then you're fucked. So between me and the fence post, keep it in your pocket. Do it after work. It's not going to make you a master, like, fucking Superman bartender anyway. So that's just my 2 cents about it. Okay. So, let's see here. How does free pouring work like the counts? We use jiggers, not allowed to free pour. So how does free pouring work like the kid? It's basically the alcohol pours at a certain speed, and this was Andrew asking this. And you learn to count, and you can count however you want, right? But basically, the kind of the classic count is a 4-count, 1-ounce shot, so that each count is a 1/4 of an ounce. American style, right? If you're in Europe, those are in centiliters, and then you're going to kind of have to recalibrate that. But again, that count generally breaks down to about a 10 centiliter pour. So you're counting, and that just gives you control. So basically, it's the same thing as using a jigger, but instead of pouring into the jigger, you're just pouring into the glass. And you know, you learn what your counts are so that you're not just relying on the jigger to tell you how much you're putting in there. You're counting how long it takes to fill that jigger up to an ounce or an ounce and a half or 2 ounces or whatever. And so you learn how to do that without it. Also, you'll just figure out what your glassware, you know, in your bar, so your pints, your buckets, your rocks glasses, whatever types of glasses that you have, what they look like when they're full of ice and without, and what, you know, an ounce looks like or 2 ounces looks like. So you don't, you know, like I don't know, I don't really have any good glasses in here for you guys, but like, say this little cup, right? Like say if this thing full of ice and it poured halfway up was let's say 1.5 ounces. I don't have to count, I could just pour, watching where the alcohol stops right around there, right? And that way you don't have to kind of count, you can just kind of visually look. So that's another way that you can pour without jiggers and you're doing a free pour. Again, got a video about that, so go check that one out. Sorry, that's the AC going on. Let me know if that's really loud. I can turn it off. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. You can always text the lady, tell her to turn it off. Okay, Cointreau, a suitable replacement for Campari? No. Well, I mean, you could play with it, but it's not the same. Do I have Campari in here? I do. And so Campari and Cointreau. So Campari, this is, so you can, let's see if we can get a little smell. This is like very herby, like almost like a what's like a kind of like a Fernet, kind of a, you know, it's like an aperitif style. This is just my bottle, so this is okay to do this. I didn't like take a swig, I just put it on my lips. But yeah, it's super earthy and like spicy kind of, right? And Cointreau is like orange liqueur, so this is just like fancy triple sec. So you can substitute anything in any drink, really. It doesn't matter, but it's not going to taste the same. It's going to change the flavor spectrums, and depending on what you're making, it could be better or it could be a lot worse. So, but in terms of like if you're in your bar and you just need to grab a quick like for like, Campari and Cointreau do not play together. No. Anyway, okay. Good question though. Good question. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah. That was Shaka Sips. What do you recommend to people that ask, what do you recommend? No. Hector Gonzalez, what do you respond to people that ask, what do you recommend? Man, I've only had half a beer. I'm fucking losing my shit. When people ask me that question, I just ask them what they normally drink. It's like, what do you normally drink? And then just kind of go from there. And they're like, well, I usually like martinis, blah, blah, blah. Then you can kind of go from there. Or if they're like, I drink Budweiser, then offer them like a beer, right? Or I drink wine, then drink wine. Whatever people drink, then that's what you kind of want to keep them on. If someone drinks Budweiser, you don't want to try to start making them weird, like freaking Negronis or some shit, or, you know, extra dirty gin martinis. They're probably not going to be into it. Maybe, but most likely I just ask people, well, what do they normally drink is one thing. Number two, if your place is known for something, right? My place, Mexican joint, we make awesome margaritas. So I say, hey, we're always known for our margaritas. So you can go with what you're known for. And then number three, you can kind of do whatever your favorite is in terms of if you do have one that you like to make, even though I said that I don't, but like I said, I'm a weirdo. So if you have one that you like, it's like, I love making these, or like whatever your drink is, it's like, well, when I'm sitting on that side, this is what I drink. And then you can make them whatever yours is. So that gives you three options right there. That, let's see here. What do I do if I get banned from a bar for not having my ID even though I'm 19? Legal age is 18 where I'm from. Well, that means that you were probably doing some stupid shit and that you shouldn't do that. Really? I mean, you don't get banned from a bar unless you're doing dumb shit. So the short answer, and you know, not trying to be rude, but just quit doing dumb shit. And you know, I mean, I've never banned anybody from my bar who didn't need to be banned from my bar. So if you want to go, I mean, unfortunately, service is at will. A bar has the right to refuse service to anyone on any grounds. You know, short of going like, I can't, you get out of here, you're in a wheelchair, right? And then you're gonna get fucked up. You know, somebody's gonna sue you if you're doing that. But just make sure that you're not being a jackass, and you should be fine. And if you have a problem with it, then you can try to go to the management, plead your case, be humble, say sorry. Maybe they'll let you back in. Otherwise, they don't have to. Okay. Free pour. Oh, no, I answered that one. Let's see. Can you give me some examples? So, nstellar8744. Can you give me some examples of interview questions I should expect so I can prepare better? I'm going to meet the owner of a bar I applied at on Thursday, and I just want to prepare. Thank you. Yes, nstellar. Go to the How to Become a Bartender playlist. And if you're watching this on a replay, I'm going to link up to this thing, and it should be already up there. But yeah, go to the How to Become a Bartender playlist, and there's 4 videos on there called How to Get a Bartending Job, part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Watch all 4 of them, but part 4 particularly goes into exactly that question. And it basically, you know, I can't, that's a hard thing, because there's not like a set management questionnaire that they mail out to all bars from the bartending gods. Like, you have to ask these questions. So I don't know, right? It just depends on the manager, it depends on the situation, it depends on the type of mood that they're in. And so there's things that you can do to influence the interview to your favor. There's things that you can stack in your, you know, the cards that you can stack in your favor. So go watch that playlist, and it'll go really deep into that stuff, talking about body language and asking questions and kind of directing the conversation. But basically, they're just going to try to get an idea of who you are, your work ethic, what kind of shit you do in your free time, so we can try to kind of make a judgment on your personality. And some, you know, they might ask you about your past jobs. Who knows? It could go a million different directions, but they're basically just trying to see if you will fit in to their vibe, their environment, their scene, their people. Can they see you fitting into the group? So do some homework about the establishment. Make sure you know the story, if there's a backstory about them. Make sure if they're known for something, their food, their drinks, their wine, their whatever, make sure you know what that is. Make sure you know why. It's a good idea, if you know you're going to have an interview, I will always go in and or go on their website and just look at their menus and kind of get a basic idea of what it is. You can even maybe practice a couple, because it's not uncommon to just get a pour test right there on the spot. I don't want to freak you out. It's actually not that common to get a pour test on the spot. But if it's like further along, or they need to hire somebody right away, like further along in the interview process, I mean, and they need to hire somebody like now, then they definitely could have you do a pour test. But just kind of do some homework about the establishment itself. Okay. Any tips on how to cut people off? Anna. Yeah, again, got a video on that on one of the playlists. I think the Working Bartender playlist about that. But you basically want to be kind of low key about it. Like, when I'm gonna cut somebody off, what I'll try to do is, when I give them and you can see it coming, right? You can see it coming a drink or two before you have to cut them off. And you're just like, all right, this guy's getting fucking wasted. I need to, we're gonna have to slow his roll a bit. So what I'll do is, the drink before I would cut them off, I will tell them, hey, gonna have to be the last one for a little while. You know, and you can just say, I gotta slow your roll because I can't overserve you. You can blame the management. It's like, hey, the management told me I gotta, you know, I can't serve you anymore, kind of a thing. But the easiest thing is to tell people as you're giving them a drink before you have to do it. Because then, I mean, most of the time they know. Most of the time they're like, yeah, okay, I know, I gotta, you know, and they'll comply. It's rare that you ever have an issue if you tell them ahead of time. The only time that I've had troubles cutting people off is when it's all of a sudden, like they've been hanging out and everything's fine, and then they try to order one, and you go, oh, sorry, can't give you any more. And they're like, what the fuck, you know? And if they're wasted, then they're not thinking clearly, right? So there's not rationale coming out of their mouth in terms of why you should keep serving them. But if you can do it on the front end before, then it makes it a whole hell of a lot easier. What's the best Long Island iced tea recipe you know? The original Long Island iced tea, Nicole Bryan. No. I didn't. The Adios, just because it looks so cool with the blue, and people are like, ooh, the Adios. Right? Because the Adios motherfucker is basically just a Long Island with blue curacao instead of triple sec, 7-Up instead of Coke. Only thing, basically. All right. Jared Amadon, 16 years old, interested in being a bartender when I grow up. What is your best tip to get a bar job, and what to do when you arrive? All right, Jared. So technically, I got to tell you, you're not old enough to be watching this. You need to wait a few years, but that's okay. So I'm not going to tell anybody. I got videos about how to set up the bar if you want to go watch that. There's a few years you got to wait, buddy. So if I were you, I would go get some lawn mowing jobs, or you could start an establishment as a busboy or a host, or a dishwasher or something, and that would probably be your best bet. But you got at least, depending on what state you're in, you got at least 2 or 3, if not 5 years before you have to worry about that question. Stacy, hello. Andrew, how do you deal with gnats at a bar? Just clean it better. I mean, we deal with that stuff because our bar is basically half. I mean, it's pretty much outside. We get a temporary roof that goes on over the top of this in the wintertime that keeps like the rain out and keeps it a little bit warmer, but it's still like kind of open air. So we're basically like outside. So I understand the problems of bugs in a bar, and gnats just come down to it needs to be cleaner. It means there's sticky, sugary shit all over the bar that they're living off of. So you just need to do a better job of cleaning it. You need to clean the fuck out of it with bleach, and you need to make sure that your bartenders, like you and your other bartenders, are cleaning it properly. But there's no like magic thing. I mean, there's the you can take like a little glass, just like a little glass like this, and put a little bit of apple cider vinegar and just a little bit of water, and kind of put a cellophane over the top of it, and then poke a couple holes in there, and those little fuckers will go in there, and then they get stuck, and then they die. So it's like a little poor man's fly trap, basically. But bugs are a byproduct of a not clean enough bar. So I know it's, you can't avoid them 100%. Like they're going to be there. That's just kind of part of the deal. You just want to mitigate and try to keep it as you don't want to have too many bugs, because then that freaks people out and it just means your shit's dirty. Okay. Let me see. I think I missed a couple. Let me make sure I get up to everybody's questions here. Let's see, huh? Alright, so Mr. Yamasoi. Yamsoi? I know I'm just destroying your name. I apologize. Working in a city where they don't like strangers, so the people don't. They don't like strangers, so the people don't stop asking me where you're from. I'm really pissed off with these questions. So, what's the best thing to avoid this question? I don't know, man. I mean, if you're a foreigner working somewhere and they hear an accent, that's just kind of the American way. as annoying as it is just going, hey, where are you from? And I think that's true with a lot of cultures, but because we travel quite a bit internationally, and you always get that question. It's one of those things that I think you just need to change your frame of mind that it's a bad question, because you're gonna, if you're a foreign person working, if you're a foreigner working in another country, whether here, or, and this is true for anybody, whether it's here or any other country, you're probably going to get that question a lot. So I would say just kind of try to change your mentality about that question bugging you. And if you are working in a bar as somebody who's not native to the country, just realize that you are going to get that question forever. It's never going to stop, and, you know, except for your locals that get to know you and already know your story. But you're always, even when you're, like, our bar is such a heavy locals bar, you still have tons of people that are from wherever, all over the place. So you're still gonna, you know, you sound like a broken record sometimes as a bartender when you're telling people your stories about your life and even what you did yesterday or last week or last month. Just because you run into different people and you start talking to them, and then you know they want to know what you're doing, and you talk to them and they ask you questions, and so you kind of got to get used to doing that as a bartender. It's just kind of part of the deal. All right, so running down to the last 5-10 minutes or so here, you guys. If you got any questions out there that you really want me to get to, trying to keep these things at an hour. So let's see here. So E, work at a popular restaurant. The manager, who's never bartended before, is trying to completely stop free pouring. How do I go about getting her to let up? We were way too busy to use jiggers. I work at a popular restaurant. So is this something that they're changing? Right? Is this like a new policy, or how to work around jiggers with the more pointless ingredients like sour? Well, if they're having you use, so it sounds like you work in just like a super craft place where they use jiggers for every single ingredient. If that's the style of the bar, then you're kind of screwed. But if what it sounds like, if this is a new thing, then you need to tell your owners, I don't know how good your relationship is with them, that it's been done this way forever, and now, you know, when you want to make your case to an owner or a manager, you need to do it from the standpoint of what they care about, and that's business. Like for us, we're known for pouring strong drinks. And if our owner all of a sudden came in and said, hey, we're going to start using jiggers, and you guys you're going to count and measure everything, our business would keep going, but there would be probably a 25 to, I don't know, maybe not 50%. We call it like 20 to 30 or 40% drop of local business. That there's a tremendous amount of people that come to our establishment because we pour stuff strong. So you need to figure out if that's why people come to your establishment. If it's, do you guys pour them a little hot? Are they, you know, are your drinks coming out a little heavy? And does that add to, does that, you know, add to, sorry, I got a text message that popped up and it totally broke my train of thought. If you have customers coming in because you pour strong drinks, and then that's hurting business by starting to use jiggers, then you need to tell your owners and your managers that. It's like, hey, you know, we have all these people that come in because we pour these, you know, strong drinks. If we stop doing that, it's going to hurt business more than the, you know, couple $100 that we're going to save on the pour cost by using jiggers. A lot of people just don't like seeing them. Even if you aren't pouring strong drinks, people just don't like seeing jiggers because they don't, everybody wants to get a good deal, right? Whether it's in a pour in a cocktail or if it's in a car you're buying, everybody wants to at least think they're getting a good deal. And when you use a jigger, people can see that they're not getting a good deal. And a good deal in this instance just means that it's over poured a little bit. And if they can't see a jigger, even if it's not over poured, they don't know that, right? I mean, they can see you pouring it, so maybe they can see that it's not just crazy, but customers don't like to see jiggers, and that's kind of the point that I would try to make to your managers. Like, hey, this. I mean, we can try it out, and if they want to just really strong arm you into it, then there's not really anything you can do other than quit and go work at another restaurant or bar or whatever. But it's that's a tough one. And honestly, if I ran a restaurant or a bar, I would never have my people use jiggers unless our pour costs just got way out of control. But then there's other things that you can do to kind of corral that in, but it just looks bad. It doesn't, it's not good for business. I don't think that the couple $100 that it saves you in pour cost is worth the loss of any local. I mean, one local lost because they see a jigger is, over the lifetime of that local, is way more valuable than a couple $100 a month, potentially. So in terms of them coming in on a regular basis, plus they influence people going there with their circle of friends, and so it's I'm not a fan of it, so I would try to make that case. All right, so good question there. Sid Meister, last call. Almost, buddy. Not quite. I can go a little bit longer, but if you guys still have questions. Everything. So E saying she wants us to measure everything. It's an Italian restaurant, so not anything cocktail. Well, we're volume over everything else. And you are listening to Goodnight Texas. Yes, that was Goodnight Texas. That was it's on Pandora Station. So yeah, that was Midnight Texas. But I'm a little confused how she says she wants us to measure everything at this Italian restaurant, but it's not anything cocktail. Like, it's not like a cocktail-y vibe in the bar. Is that what you mean? I'm sure that's what you mean. So, yeah, when you're busy, just, that's the other thing, is you can say, hey, we're really busy, and if you work, that's the other thing that sucks about jiggers, is it slows you down tremendously, and you could say, I could, like, if I was you could go in and say, hey, I can make the argument that the few $100 that we're going to save in pour cost, we're losing even more because it's slowing me down that much. I can make, potentially, who knows, figure out a number, 10, 20, 30 more drinks over the night if I didn't have to use a jigger, because I can just free pour stuff a lot faster, and and then do the math on it, like whatever your average cost is, that's that adds up to $200, $300, $400, $500. So it's, what it sounds like is it's a control freak issue, right? Okay, we're having another beer. So it sounds like it's a control freak issue to me, and that's just kind of sucks. So we get tickets. So we get tickets of 6 or more margaritas at a time, and then other drinks on top of our bar top guests. So it takes forever to try to jigger out liquor, and then having to use measuring cup for sour. I can't believe they make you use why do they? So you got to try to cut all the unnecessary shit out of there. Like, why do you need a measuring cup for the sour? I mean, it's probably because they want to just have super consistency in the drinks. And it sounds like somebody who went and took a seminar for optimizing your fucking bar business, but they don't understand what makes the business come there in the first place. Stuff like, why do you need to measure the sour? You're not going to try to put too much sour into the thing. And if it's just a consistency thing, then, have a practice day. It's like, hey, instead of doing all this measuring, let's do a day of training so that we make sure everybody knows how to make these, so that everybody's on the same page. But even then, from a consistency standpoint, like, our drinks from our bartenders are all over the map, especially right now, because we had a couple new ones that, like, one of the girls, she's just like a complete rookie and just doesn't really know what she's doing. But it's like, people don't care as long as, like, I don't know. It depends on your establishment. It's hard to know, though. I don't know the whole story, so. But it sounds like a control freak thing, and so you just try to figure out why she's doing what she's doing, and then make an argument of why it's not working. And speed and income are two that are on your side, and should be pretty persuasive. Okay, let's see here. Sid Meister. No, I changed my mind. We're having another beer. But can't have this one too long. Let's see here. So Arabella, Issa, some customers do like it. At least that's what I was told. Oh, like jiggers? Yeah, I don't know. I guess so, but I would argue that more don't than do. So I think it's some people like to see the meticulousness in it, but for like him, for E, if he's in a high volume place, those aren't the kind of people I don't think that would want to see a jigger. So, well, yeah, that's a pain in the ass if you're busy. I have no Campari and get orders for Negronis. What's a good recipe? Sid Meister, I got a Negroni video. Go watch it. Edward Halva, what's up? J.K. Is that J, California? Hello. So, got a bunch of you guys a few of you guys coming in a little late. Would you be, so Jennifer Quintero, would you have to be extremely social to get a bartending job? I'm pretty shy and cute to myself unless I get comfortable. No, I actually used to be, my entire childhood, I was a very shy kid, very introverted. I know that doesn't translate as an adult to your point right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm an extroverted introvert, meaning I've learned how to be extroverted, but when I'm not in a bar environment or like in front of a camera for you guys, I generally am kind of just to myself kind of a person. Like, I can be outgoing and social and can go talk to anybody and can seem like a social butterfly just because I've done this job for so long. But like I would have no problem going on, and I have gone on vacation by myself. I could go to a deserted island by myself and not have anybody there and just be perfectly happy. And that's kind of the thing with like real certain kind of extroverted people, is they kind of need that interaction with people, and that'll kind of drive them crazy. Whereas like I like my alone time. So I feel you in terms of being shy, and it's something that you just gotta, it's just realizing that you're not on stage, they're not there like to stare at you and go like, okay monkey, entertain me now please. It's just they're just there to have lunch, to have a drink, to meet up with their friends. Most people nowadays, they just have their face in their fucking phone. Like we all just walk around with our faces. We're missing our life because our face is in our damn phone. So it's not even that big of a deal anymore. And just the most easy question, and just start a conversation, and then just start talking to them like they're your friend. Easiest thing, and this is one that I ask 5 million times a day with people when they sit down, is like, hey, what are you up to today? What's going on? And then they'll start, and then the conversation rolls naturally from there. So you just need a question. So there's your question. What are you doing today? What's going on? What are you up to? All right? And then when they sit down to approach somebody, your place might have a specific line or kind of a specific approach that they prefer you to do. But hopefully if they don't, and in that case, you just go like, hey, can I get you a little something to eat or drink today? As they sit down. And they'll say like, oh yeah, just a drink, or all the above, or just some food, or blah, blah, blah. Or I'm waiting for a friend. And then you can gauge it from there. All right. But yeah, don't worry about being shy. It's one of the things that this industry will be phenomenal for helping you get over it, and it won't be overly painful. It's not going to be something where you're going to have to be fake. It's just thinking about it as a good time. You're going to work at a party of sorts, and you just be stoked that you get to do that for your job. Okay. So, what's the best way to land a gig with no bar experience? Terrell Russell. So I kind of hit on that a few times. Go watch the playlist How to Become a Bartender, and that'll answer that really well. But the short answer is to get a job in an establishment in a different position. Barback, busboy, dishwasher, bouncer, host, server, toilet scrubber, whatever. Just get a job in another position, and then from there, it'll just come down to getting integrated into the establishment, getting to know the management and the owners, and letting them know that you want to be a bartender. Show them that you're a valuable employee by not being late and doing your job and then helping out with other things beyond what your job is. So like don't stand around like, oh, I'm not gonna, like if you're a busboy and somebody asks you to go clean something that's not on a table, don't go like, well, that's not my job. You know, be a team player. And then if you do that, then they'll see that you're valuable and they'll want to promote you quicker. All right, E. Yeah, most restaurants will hire someone with no experience simply so they can install their particular rules and ways. So look for a low-volume restaurant bartender, serve, and then jump up when expected. Yeah. It can actually be a bad thing at a certain point in your bartending career. I'm kind of at that point where, like, if I was going out to new places, I would, a lot of people would be apprehensive of me because bartenders that have been doing this for so long, they have their habits, they have their ways of doing things, and like E was talking about, they want to be able to mold them sometimes the way that they want. And like me, I can be a chameleon, and that's part of being a good bartender, is being able to go in and fit into a different environment and working outside of a type of environment that you've worked at before and doing it successfully. And you need to be able to articulate that if, you know, you guys get to your point in your career where you have over, 7, 8, 10 years of experience, then that's where it starts to kind of, too much experience can actually start to be a bad thing. So, okay, One Way Studio, what's up? Good to see you live again. Glad you can make it. Any tips on how we can be efficient bartenders and servers? Just time management, like I don't know, shit, that's a tough question. When you have a bunch of tickets, like if you're working the service well, or if you're making drink tickets for your servers, like, and this is on my mind because we have a new girl right now, and she does this where one drink ticket will, even if there's a bunch of them, she'll make one drink ticket at a time. So if there's like 2 beers and margarita on this one, she'll make that. And then she'll go to the next ticket and she'll make, if it's another 2 beers and margarita, then she'll make that. And then she'll go to, instead of, as those tickets pop out, try to, and you don't have to nail all of them, but try to look at them and go, okay, so if there's a consistent type of beer or wine that you pour or drink that you make, like in our instance, margaritas, so if I get 5 tickets that pop up and I can see that there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 margaritas over all these tickets, I'm going to make them all at once. So you put all your glassware out, salt all the rims, and put all the ice in there, and then you pour them all at once, you put the mix on at once, so you just, efficiency of movement. And then other than that, just being good at taking more than one drink order at a time. And again, I got another video about that talks about how you just try to see something in your head where you write it down. Like I always have a chalkboard. You can have think about texting it to yourself in your head or typing it on a screen or something, just whatever helps you remember it. And write it on that screen in the sky, and then just go and you make as many as you can, and then if you forget something, ask them what you forgot. And that's fine. Alright. E's got another one. One more. We have a bartender who's consistently late and shows up late and drunk, but he also has cancer. Oh, Jesus. What's a good way to go about this, because he's holding people back? in terms of like moving into his place. Oh man. Well, so first and foremost, you gotta have, right, being good human beings, we gotta have sympathy and empathy on the poor guy that's got cancer. However, that is not an excuse to be a fuck up. So showing up late and showing up drunk is not acceptable. I don't care if you have cancer. You're just using that as an excuse to be a fucking derelict. So that's a real tricky situation, and I don't want to sound, first and foremost, you know, you got to give the guy a break because he's got cancer. But if he's abusing it, then that's not okay. And that's where you need to go to the management, go to the owners, and like, hey, look, I love fucking Steve. You know, poor guy's got colon cancer or whatever the fuck, you know, cancer he's got. But, you know, here's what's happening. And I love the guy, but again, you present it to them as it's affecting what they care about, which is the business, which is productivity. You know, whatever it is that they care about. If they're the owner, then obviously it's the business and making the bottom line grow. And so you have to be like, you know, this guy, I love him, and the poor guy's got cancer, but, you know, he's sandbagging here, just freaking showing up late and drunk, and we got all these people that are behind him just chomping at the bit that would absolutely knock it out of the park. So, and depending on your level of where you're at in this establishment, that might be all you can say. Now, if you've been there a little bit longer, you might be able to influence. You know, I've been able to get bad apples out of our place in similar, not cancer situations, but like being late and being drunk all the time. It's like I'll let it fly for a while, and I'll talk to them. You know, go to him, and just like, hey, bro, you know, I understand you know, shit's hard, but you're making things difficult for us showing up late and drunk all the time. Try to go to them first. And of course, most of the time, someone like that, they're probably going to get all defensive and pissed off and shit, but at least then you went to them first. And then they can't say like, well, dude, you didn't even come talk to me, bro. So go to them first. Give them an opportunity to figure it out with you man to man. And then if they don't figure it out, then go around them. And if they're taking it, and especially if they're taking advantage of it, which kind of is what it sounds like. Yeah, Edward's like, shouldn't he be getting treatment? I think he should be getting treatment. And drinking is not good treatment for cancer. This is one of the worst things we do to our bodies. This is one of the most cancerous things you can put in your bodies. I don't understand how this is like legal and like everybody's all about it, but then like something like weed is like bad. I don't know. Contradictions of society are fucking astounding. But anyway, yes, he should be getting treatment, not showing up drunk at all. You know. Sorry, sometimes I go on little tangents, so I don't mean to inflict my personal opinions on you guys. Okay. All right, so countdown here. Anybody else? Last questions? Speak now or forever wait till next week. I think that's it. Thanks, Eddie. I'm going to call you Eddie. Is that all right? Right on. Well, cool. Thanks for showing up this week, you guys. Hope you all got something out of it. Remember, these play on... These, after I'm done with these, they get posted to my regular profile, so you can always just go back and they're in my regular videos and you can watch through these. Watch through some of the old ones. There's a bunch of really good information on all these live streams. You guys, I appreciate you showing up. You guys ask really good questions. And if you haven't watched some of these old ones, go watch some of the past live stream replays. There's tons of good stuff in here. I mean, there's basically 4, 5, 6 episodes worth of content in each one of these live streams. So that's why I'm glad you guys are liking these, because it's easier for me with my schedule right now to do this as opposed to making, you know, cool videos, which I really want to do, and I'm still trying to do. But as you can tell from my posting, this is just much easier and allows me to give you guys direct feedback as well. Okay, I think that's it for now. Start a Facebook on your fan. You should start a group on Facebook for your fans. I do have a Facebook. I'm really terrible at social media. If anybody out there is good at social media watching this, either now or after the fact, and you want to like do a work trade thing, I'll give you like free access to all my private website stuff over at Bartending Blueprint or something if you want to help me with this stuff, because I'm just so goddamn busy, man. I know that's not an excuse, but it's so hard. If any of you guys were trying to get resumes or anything from that website a couple of weeks ago, you know it was all kind of fucked up and I just don't have time to get to it. But anyway, send me a direct message or email support, so support me, like support at bartendingblueprint.com, and if you're interested in something like that, and we'll get a little work trade going on, but because I would love to have all my social media stuff buffed out. I just hired a couple of people on Fiverr to try to help me do like my Instagram shit, because I just don't have time to do all that stuff, and I know I need to, and I'll be able to do it more after May when I'm graduated, but right now it's tough, man. So anyway, okay. Any last questions? Let me make sure I didn't bail out. Yeah, Edward, bring some questions next week. Well, actually, before I became a bartender. Thank you. Stoked I'm helping you out, Anna. One Way Studios. Do you prefer to work for chains or small businesses? Small businesses, always. And I'm pretty sure I would call that across. Well, I'll just say small businesses, always. All right, cool, you guys. Music promoter, run some music pages. I can help admin group. Yeah, man. I mean, if there's something that I have that's of value that I could give to you in exchange, I would love to do that. So send me an email. All right, you guys. That's it for this one. I'm Jason. This has been making you a bartending pro. I'll see you next week, if not sooner. All right, cheers.